right now the servers are down to preload, so yeah. Man. I mean, I could try and prep, but I don't know what the hell I'm doing. I don't know. I see the streamers already putting out content like early game builds, but no one has got the hands on the game other than if you were invited to ExoCon or the early playtesting. So unless you're like a long time player who GGG invited or you're a content creator, um, no one's got their hands on the game yet. So everyone that was invited was at least able to get a little bit more insight. So they're able to put their builds together early. Obviously, people who are behind like the build websites probably have their hands on the, I don't know, maybe they have their hands on their API. Who knows? But yeah, I mean, there's obviously if you are seen it like somebody who was sent out or was allowed to play early with GGG, you pretty much have access to pretty much have. It's like going to a museum before everyone else, essentially. So you'll be able to get knowledge early, then you'll be able to put out your content early. But I don't mind. It's whatever, really. I mean, at the end of the day, is those same guys have kept the game, alive. So it's not a big deal, honestly. I'll just put my camera up here. Every day my camera gets bigger. Anyways, quick rundown. You can get PoE on Steam directly or wherever you play the game, whichever platform. So I think you should be able to at least buy early access on Steam already or Epic. And then I think later on is the Xbox and PS5. So, PlayStation Store or Microsoft Store. Or you can just buy directly from the GGG's website. But I think you can only, I don't know if they hand the keys out for Xbox or PS5 currently. I don't think so. But you're able to redeem the key directly from the PoE2 website, your accounts page, and then redeem it on Steam. So if you prefer to do it that way, you could. Some people might want to do it from Steam because it's just easier to keep track of your transactions. Plus, it counts towards the global sales chart, essentially. Or, like, you can just go directly with GGG's website, which they get, the full commission for. Or, they get the full sale. If you do it through Steam, obviously, Steam gets a cut of 70%. Ascendancy class. So, yeah. We could take a look at some stuff here while we wait. I mean, I did I updated my graphics driver, and then obviously updated all my Steam games and what you call it. I don't know if NeverSync's gonna be used because I think that's more closely tied with PoE1. I don't know how it's gonna work for PoE2 for the path of building community fork. I don't think it's gonna be usable, so they might have to build a second one from scratch. But for now, you can just use the website. There's a couple ones out there. You could just Google up PoE2 building or something, and then you can make your tree from there. Let me see, path of exile to skill tree. See, I can try an attempt to make a skill tree, but at the end of the day is I don't know exactly what I'm gonna choose. Plus, I don't know how most things, how they work. I don't know why this would be better than that. So it's hard to, whip out a skill tree if you haven't even, you know, um, haven't even gotten access to the tree itself, right? Via playing the game. But there's always gonna be content creators out there like Ziggy or Ziz or even Crip who have a better idea. So you can just, or with Dijo, who might have their hands on the game already. I can tell you more about, how to optimize your tree. But yeah, pre-download was supposed to be available, I think 7 p.m. for me, CST. Right. I think it's supposed to be like, if it's 5 p.m. PST, then Central Time is 2 hours late. So that's 7 p.m. CST. Apparently, early access starts at 11 a.m. PDT, which is PST. So that means that's 1 o'clock Central Time, which is kind of rare. So that's the 2 hour, difference. But yeah, that's 1 p.m. CST. So pretty much 17 hours from now, which is theoretically, yeah, it checks out. What time is it? 17 hours from now. Yeah, it checks out. It's okay. They usually, they start the season off at 3 p.m. every season, like, league launch. But I'm surprised that they actually went with the 1 p.m. time. So that's cool. Cool with me. So apparently you can't pre-download it from Steam directly, although you can purchase the early access directly from Steam. As I said, if you buy it from Steam, Steam gets 30% cut. The 70% goes to GGG. So how you buy it is up to you. But I think that if you get it from the directly from GGG, I think you can pre-download the game. From what I know, I don't know if you can pre-download it. For example, if you buy it off Steam, I don't know if it gives you the ability to pre-download it directly from GGG's website. I didn't do it that way. I bought the key directly from PoE2, the site itself. So yeah. Let me just do a little quick check on this because everyone is trying to pre-download, but their main site is down. Okay, early access, get access now. All right, I did that. But where exactly do you pre-download? Path of Excel to pre-download. The only reason why I'm not showing my screen right now is because I think if you go to a certain portion of the site, it'll pop up your key. Although it's not gonna do anything because I already redeemed it, so yeah. Let me just double check pre-download. Or I could just do this, right? So there it is, Steam. Just go to the store. And oh yeah, just sort of a little glance at this. Right now, globally, PoE 2 is the highest selling game on Steam. Does this show all time? Relevance, release date. Is this all time? I don't know. Stalker 2's up there. I don't know how Dota 2 made it up there, but okay. Can I filter it by, yeah, hide free-to-play games? I mean, technically PoE 2 is going to be free to play, but I guess for early access is you have to buy into it. I thought it was going to be, I thought PUBG was going to be up here too, because PUBG was pretty dang popular. Let's see. This filters out Counter-Strike, which, you know. Oh, okay. Counter-Strike 2 outpaced PUBG. I thought this game was, I don't know, the first Descendant. It looked interesting at first, but it's one of those thingies where it only lasted like a week at best. That's crazy. Counter-Strike 2 and PUBG. That was kind of obvious. Dota. PoE 2. I want to know what the is there a way to pull up the sales chart? Let's see. Steam sales chart. I want to know how many units are already been sold. Ooh, okay, let's look at this. Alright, I do have a playlist of PoE. I don't know if it has PoE 2 music. I already downloaded it. I don't know if they... I think it is. Yeah. So if you get the early access, just a reminder, the lowest price one is $30. Because the other choices are like just adding currency. But if you actually want actual early access, right, you have to buy the $30 pack or above supported packs. But look at this. Top selling right now. Most played right now. Wow, Marvel Rivals. I didn't realize how popular it has become. PUBG has kind of lost its lead. Call of Duty kind of dropped off. Counter-Strike will ever, will always be like, up there in terms of concurrent players. Top selling and top played games across Steam. 34 million. 23 million people online right now. 34 million at its peak. What is this today? I wanted to know how many units were sold just on Steam. I mean, I hope that GGG, they publish the overall sales data, all across. Because you obviously, you got Xbox, PS5, Steam, Epic, and then directly from their site. So I kind of want to see how it is, all together. Steam Deck. Throne and Liberty, Counter-Strike. Most played. Counter-Strike, obviously. Best of 23. Steam charts. Is this it? Oh yeah, yeah. Path of Exile. What's it looking like now? This. Huh. Okay, 3,000 player. It has this. It's one of those games where it has this weird like. Let me see, Lost Ark. It has the up and down cycle essentially, because it's a 3-4 month cycle, for each league. Oh man, 25K. It hit 1.3 players at its peak, 1.3 mil. I mean, 20,000 players is not bad at all, really. That's actually surprising because I think bad would be like if it's under 10K, but 20K is not too bad, really. I mean, it could be worse, but that's a huge drop off from 1.3 mil. But obviously, that's with the release of the game. I think Lost Ark had to be one of those games where I was like, it was on my like top 5 games that I was waiting for when it came out. I played it a lot. Um, I don't even know how many hours I put into that game. Let me see. But not as much as I hoped for. See, only about 517 hours. I didn't play as much as I did with other, like, I think PoE's probably the second highest played. I think League would probably be still number 1. Let me see. Let me see if there's a PoE. What is that? League of Legends. How long have I played? Cerebrum. Ah, it does this dumb thingy where you had to like. Let me see. The hell is my league name? Because they started adding the tag, that like the hashtag number, so you had to remember what the hashtag is. All right, I think I found it. There we go. Right here. Look. Okay. I mean, outside of Steam or just League, I don't think there's any other game that I played so much, put so much time into. I mean, I can't think of a game on PS2 or 3, or just on like the consoles that I've played a lot. I don't think they even come close. I think at best they would be sitting at like, an average of like 400 to 500 hours. But yeah, at this moment, it's still gonna be League by, yeah. Well, we're looking at about 600 more hours or so. That's crazy, but that's not a lot compared to people who've played since like beta access, which started in like 2009, I believe, and then the game launched in 2010. And then 3 years later, PoE 1 came out, officially came out 2013 alongside Guild Wars. So yeah. But yeah, I mean, there's people who sank like 10,000 hours. I mean, there's people literally who sank what, like, look at that. Look at the amount of days that is. 1.799 in the EU. I I never. Same with PoE. There's people who sank at least like 10 to 20k hours since, like, beta access, PoE 1 beta access. So yeah, my hours is nothing compared to theirs. For me, it's like I didn't start playing PoE until 2015, which is 2 years after launch. What? There it is. Look. I thought they said you couldn't pre-download it from Steam. Apparently, whether you buy it from Steam or from directly from GGG, you can pre-download it. Very nice. Let me go ahead and do that. Good thing is that December of last year, like prior to the launch of Ready or Not, just tactical shooter, I bought a 2TB SSD and installed it in my computer because I was running out of SSD space. I mean, I do have 1TB HDD, but I migrated all my game off of it because a lot of games are just no longer optimized for HDDs. I mean, you could get away with like playing, like, I don't know, like Minecraft or Stardew on it, but you start to notice that weird jank and lag. So now for me, it's like, I think the only thing I'll ever really use it for is to save like music, pictures, and videos. Like if I made OBS video recordings, I save it on there. I mean, it's good for storing your media essentially, because obviously those don't require like too much speed. But with games, I think SSD is just the way to go going forward. Plus, SSD has become a lot more affordable. So most systems nowadays are just pure SSDs. I mean, if you're someone who needs to absolutely have a lot of storage space for redundancy, or I don't know, just like you do video editing and you had to save it somewhere, and you just need as much cheap space as possible, then HDD is always an alternative. But honestly, I would just buy a 2TB hard drive minimum. Like, if I were to upgrade my computer and I had if it was like a pretty decent budget, yeah, I think in my opinion, yeah, you're just gonna have to go with at least a 2TB or something, right? You could do the standard hybrid setup. You could do one SSD, maybe like, I would say like a 256 gig SSD. Well, this was the setup back then. It was, you would do one 256 gig SSD, to save your to have where the Windows is booting. So anything that's like related to Windows or just utility, you would have it downloaded and installed on that SSD, just for startup. And then everything else was put on a HDD, 1TB HDD. That was back then. Now, you just buy a 1TB hard SSD. I think personally for me, I would probably separate the two. Just get like a 250 gig SSD. Nothing crazy. Just to put my computer or the boot stuff on, and then get a separate one for everything else, for games or whatever, right? I don't know why. It's just this weird thingy where so for example, if you get just one 1TB SSD or one 2TB SSD, And then you start packing it with stuff, games, media, whatever, and you have Windows on it. For some goddamn reason, the system starts to slow down. I don't know why. I can't explain it. I don't know if it's a Windows thing or not. That's why for me, I prefer to have it separate. Like all the boot stuff, all the Windows stuff, all the utility stuff, one drive, one smaller drive because it doesn't need too much. Then, games and media, separate drive. Games, definitely want to do at least at minimum. I mean, you could get away with 1 terabyte SSD, but trust me when I say that a lot of games have become so large in the amount of space that they take up. Like one game alone, one AAA game alone might put you at 200 gigs of usage. So that's a significant portion of your your if you had a 1 terabyte drive, right? That's like at most you're only able to load up, I don't know, like 4 AAA games on there at most. So yeah, I'd say 2. Go with 2. That way you don't have to feel like you're gonna run out of space. Because I've done it where so for me I've had one 256 gig SSD plus another 256 SSD. That's 512 plus 1 terabyte hard drive. And then I still felt the need to get a 2 terabyte SSD. So yeah, I would say if you're on a budget, go with just 2 terabyte SSD. But if you have a little bit more flexibility, I would separate the drives. Just go straight up SSD. If you could go M.2. Now I don't know how people do it. I don't know if they put their boot stuff on the M.2 or they put their game stuff on the M.2. But for me, startup time is not as important as game performance. Honestly, like I don't care if it's just a millisecond faster. I would prefer that the game that I'm playing gets the fastest speed possible. So I would put my games, all the games, on the M.2 SSD, and then just a standard 2.5 inch VNAND, like Samsung Evo whatever 850 or 860. Just I don't know, 256 gig or 512 gig. Put the Windows stuff on there, and then probably want to do buy like a passport, portable external drive. Ideally SSD. Do like 1 or 2 terabytes for your media. I think it's better to get a portable one. That way you have access to it. You could just take it with you if you need to. I mean, you could put it on your computer, but to me, I don't like storing my files on the computer. Only if I need to do some video editing and it just needs to be there temporarily. But at some point I'm gonna have a redundant drive, I guess, or a redundancy system. It's gonna be like if I create something and put it on my computer, there's gonna be a copy of it on the portable hard drive anyways, just as backup. Because you just never know with the computer. If you put everything on your computer, it's like putting all your eggs in one basket. And if you get a blue screen or just your systems isn't working, then you don't have access to those files until you figure out what the issue is. Even then, if you find a resolution, you might lose access, right? Maybe you had to do a factory store just because you couldn't figure it out. So I was like, always have some sort of backup or some system of redundancy or something. But yeah. So here's what I see from what we're looking at. So if you go to here, two, it shows it here. I think I didn't see it until now or until like an hour later, but there you go. And then you can pre-purchase it. From there, it wasn't until like an hour later where the preload button became available. Apparently, it was not meant to be preloaded via Steam, but now you could. I think Epic is the same thing. Is you can now preload it from the clients. So that's pretty much what I'm doing. Obviously, it's not playable today. It's 1 p.m. CST tomorrow afternoon, or whatever time. 11 a.m. PDT. You have to convert that to your current time or your local time. But yeah, games is about 83.7 gigs. There's gonna be patches tomorrow too, though, so keep that in mind. Is that prior to launch, there's gonna be a few hot fixes. I mean, obviously, the point of early access is to find bugs, stamp them out prior to release. They said that from what I read is that early access is gonna run for at minimum 6 months. But they will take as long as they need to polish up the game prior to launch. So it won't surprise me if it extends from 6 months to a year or more. But personally, I think that there's no rush. They should just take their time, right? Just make the game as polished and as clean as possible, right? Just take the time to just make early access. I mean, that's the point, is that early access is meant to be that playtest. But I don't mind delays. That just gives them more time to add stuff in, take stuff out, fix stuff, find out what's broken, because it's a huge game, so it's kind of hard to know until actual when the game goes live. I kind of want to do a skill tree build, but the problem is some of the abilities I don't even know what they do. So I don't know how I would build towards it. I don't know what items are available. I don't know what some of the nodes do or the skill gems or supports do. So yeah, it's kind of hard to say. But we could take a look at some of the PoE stuff, the videos. Let's see. Path of Exile. Oh, wait. First, I kind of want to watch this trailer from Ready or Not. Just let that sit in the background. I will just hide my icons. Okay. Before we watch PoE, I kind of want to watch this real quick. Official trailer. Let me pause the music real quick.
farmers, writhing around in the mud. We just dig and dig and dig, blindly seeking resources to keep the cycle repeating. But change is coming.
8:05. Let's get this done fast.
Well, working class Joe, should have picked a different career path. It's all down from here.
Not gonna break off.
Nope.
Got the little girl, she's fine. Please don't.
Don't what?
You're all parasites. Humanity can do anything. Look what that gave us.
No, I
But
didn't.
you did.
No.
Interesting. So the next, I guess the game's gonna take place on an oil rig. That's crazy. This game's on my bucket list of games that I intend to play once I upgrade my computer. For now, I can't. I could barely run it. Same with Hunt Showdown. I want to play that too, but I have struggle running the game.
Existence is a thing of beauty, precious, but impermanent. Life and death are mortal enemies, and yet bound to one another. The continuation of life must be protected at all costs. Some have said, my methods are brutal. To this, I say, there can be no salvation without sacrifice. We are faced with the end, and I will do what I must. Those who obsess with death, let them soon be acquainted with it.
Apparently that boss with the hand wings is supposed to be one of the hardest bosses by far. So, we'll see. I mean, interestingly enough, so this is gonna be the character select screen. I I don't know all of them. I mean, you got the witch. They changed it from ranger to damn, I forgot the name. Warden or something. And then sorceress, monk. One of these is mercenary. The other one is yeah, I forgot the name. So there's like a demon class. I think that's a sorceress, right? Where it's kind of like the elementalist. I'm assuming the big guy is kind of like the marauder, but plays differently.
Are brutal.
I mean, I'm glad that we're going back to the Aztecian sort of slash like Mayan looking theme.
The continuation.
It's always been kind of central to
My
PoE,
are brutal.
especially when you're dealing with like, you know, bosses like Katava, Tukahama, and stuff.
Without sacrifice.
That's mercenary. I think her name is Warden. That's the Devourer, by the way. It's like the guy that's from the Act 2 for the Forest. The Devourer. I mean, there were. I mean, PoE 1. They're just called Devourer, but I don't think there was a boss called the Devourer. So we finally see the big daddy of the Devourers. What is this guy's name? I gotta find out. I don't. I told you, like, even though I played. Where? Okay, so it's just gonna stay like that for now. And then once tomorrow hits at 1 p.m. my time, CST or whatever time it is, it's gonna patch, I guess. So right now it's just, you know, it's just downloaded but install. So it's gonna patch tomorrow and install, and then probably patch again with, you know, any intermittent like update. And then from there, hopefully you can get into the queue. I doubt it. They said that they're gonna scale the servers to accommodate for at least 1 million players. Who knows if they're gonna hit that million? I mean, cool if they do, but I think that's a pretty steep number to hit on the first day. But I mean, if you look at games like Lost Ark, they hit it like a mil, what like 1.4 mil concurrent players on their release. So who knows? I mean, at some point, PUBG hit like 3 point something mil. So PoE's looking to shape up. We'll see. The thing is, the players on Steam, it's just one out of the, you know, many platforms that are available, right? So it's 1/3 of the entire player base, or less than a third. You still got the Epic Store and the, you know, Xbox and PS5, right? And people who don't really use the either platforms, you can just play it directly from their client. There's that too. Yeah, there it is. 83.7 gigs. So that's actually not bad. PoE itself is like 90 gigs or something. I think you can check that here. SSD 1. Oh, okay. It's only about 44.7. That's not bad at all. So it's double the size. That's not too bad. Let me see. What about the AC? 22. Lost Ark? I know Lost Ark is at least 90. Okay, 116 or so gigs. I know this is 90 gigs. Oh, 56. Not too shabby. Anyways. I think I'm gonna go into the game blind. Like, I'm too lazy to create. I could draft up a skill tree, just sort of like a backbone. But knowing me, I feel like I might like procrastinate. I think the big question is, am I able to run the game? I think
We are faced with the end, and I will do what I must.
realistically, I might be able to run the game at like 40 frames, 40 to 50 frames, and average out at 30 frames. Okay, so I know there's okay, so that's I don't know if that's the Atlas. This is the this is the end game content, obviously, right? But this is not the Atlas, right? This is the the separate tree for this league, this upcoming league at the start of early access, or unless that is the Atlas itself, because then there's this separate tree here for the other content. Where is it? Where did I see it? I mean, this is the skill tree itself.
The end, and I will do what I must.
Okay, it's supposed to show it like around here. No. Did I miss it?
Those who obsess with death. Let
I kind of okay, so I kind of want to try and do a DOT build, but I think it's gonna be kind of hard. Oh, right there, right there, right there. Slow it down. Slow it down. 152. I mean, since it's like it's a brand new game, I could try and do like a totally different build that I've never done before, but it's gonna be pretty crappy, believe me. Right there, right there. From I mean, from what I know is that okay, there in PoE 1, there's the Alice itself, right? As you go through maps, and then there is the other tree where you're doing like different leagues, right? Like different permanent leagues, like Metamorph or Heist or something, or to influence the map to have more of those content. I think that's what this is. So as you spec into these, you'll see more breaches, or you'll see more metamorph or whatever as you go through the atlas. If whatever this is the atlas, I assume, then this influences the content that pops up on the atlas, I suppose. I think. That's pretty cool though. What else do they got? Una.
Sirens call, strong as the tide. None could save her, nor could she hide.
It's a real life bard.
Shadows then rose, whispering low, lamenting the dark she came to know. We may never learn what dreams that once
Wait, is that gonna be a NPC in the game?
what fate had destined, his gift had wrought for her maddening love.
Very nice. As you can see, I've been watching a lot of historical documentaries. Sigil of Power teaser. Early access Twitch drops. Hey, what's this all about? Whoa, hold up. December 6th, Bolt Flash effects. Helmet. December 14th, Temporal Lords Portal. Is that Thursday? Give 2 Twitch subscriptions. Get a Chimera pet. Right, that's not bad. That's like, oh, that is $10 for a pet though. I watched this, but I'll watch it again.
Just what are we facing here?
A relic of the old world. Ready your men, Captain.
This is probably the first time they've done a cinematic.
Sir, just what are we facing here?
A relic of the old world. Ready your men, Captain. We will only get one chance. And remember, when you hear the whispers, call for help. Do not attack.
When you hear the whispers, what do you think he was on about?
Whoops.
It's Dorman, right?
Yeah?
Then Dorman, shut your damn mouth. Ugh, why do I always get stuck with these rookies?
Hey, the kid's got a mean cleave. Give him a chance.
Quiet.
Sullen!
A mean cleave, eh, Captain? Rookie can't even lift his own sword. Captain Oren? Captain? It's here. Rain! Send the signal!
What the fuck?
Rain! On my back, blade up!
Come on, come on! I'm ready! I'm ready! It's a man!
No, it's not. Run.
Captain! Captain!
Stop! Humanity isn't ready.
On your feet, lad.
Sir, the captain,
You'll be fine. Here.
What is this?
Get the body. Stop. Mortal. It can still be contained. You don't know what you have unleashed.
Your kind no longer control this world. We cannot destroy your body, it's true. But you will watch as we destroy everything you have built. Bind him!
Feed. Grow, my child. I'll make sure you can eat your fill.
Why did that dude remind me of Captain? That dude that helps you go through the maps in PoE1. I don't think they're related. Both of the fire projectile supporter skills have a chance to fire many additional. While standing inside. Help comes more profit the more mana you spend while standing in the sigil. I think the animation and the sort of combat looks a lot more smoother. That was like probably the biggest complaint about PoE1. That the game felt pretty stiff. Emits an aura that continuously inflicts critical weakness on enemies in your presence. Oh, this is the new bone shards? I don't remember the last time I did sort of a minion or a summoner build. But that looks kind of cool. We'll take grenade and blast, plasma blast teaser. Wait, what? That was so fast. Jeez, look at the graphics though. Cluster grenade. I was thinking of trying that class too. I don't know. We'll see. We will see. First, the biggest test of GG tomorrow is, can you even get past the queue? So, yeah. That's gonna be a big one. Anyways, they showed this on. Alright, so it's sort of like newsletters. This was on my wish list for a while. FAQ. But this was, I think, available 3 days ago. No, not even 3 days ago, like a week ago. There it is. System requirements. Oof, look at that. I don't think I'm gonna be able to run this. Look at this. Minimum requirement. Can I zoom in? I can't zoom in. Alright, so an i7 7700 Ryzen 5. Yeah, my CPU is nowhere near that. i5 10500 Ryzen 5 3 3700X. At least 8 gigs of RAM. NVIDIA GeForce GTX 960. Intel Arc A380 or ATI Radeon RX 470. I probably meet the GPU requirements and the memory requirements, just barely, to play the game on its lowest graphics possible. But the CPU is a different story. Yeah, there's no way. CPU is gonna struggle. Recommended the 2060 or the RX 5600 XT. Storage 100 gigs of space available. SSD is recommended. Yeah, for this game, I would, yeah, like, I would not put it on an HDD. I'd put on an SSD. Oh boy. I thought I saw the post here. It showed all the Ascendancy classes. When did I miss that? November 27th, December 3rd. Was it here? Oh, that's weird. Okay, it was here, so it's PoE. Click on PoE 1, and then it's here. And it was published by GGG themselves. Ascendancy classes in early access. I don't know if there's a way to zoom into here. Twitch drops. Whoa, what's all of this? Oh, that's neat. Early access release timing. Basically, you just... Well, I don't know how you would do it. I know that if it's 24 and under, right? The time, you subtract 12. Like for me, if it's CST, subtract 12. That's 1 o'clock in the PM. There's probably a more efficient way to figure it out. How to convert military time to Western time, I guess. Is that 10 p.m.? Holy shit. 8 p.m., 7 p.m. Europe time. I guess one way I can remember it is, okay, so if it's starts with a 0, that's what times it starts in the morning. So for example, this is 2 a.m. right? That's 8 a.m. New Zealand time, 6 a.m., 2 a.m., 4 a.m. And then if it's above 12 hours, then you subtract 12 hours. First of all, if it's above 12:00, that means it's in the afternoon. Because 12 is noon, right? And then you subtract 12, and that's... So you know it's in the afternoon. Then you subtract 12, then that's 1 p.m. in the afternoon. Central time for me. PST would be 11, I guess, since it's before 12. 11 a.m. PST. That's California time. And EST is 2 o'clock or so. 2 o'clock p.m. I'm a dum-dum, so that's the only way I remember easily. Yeah. Steam, you should be able to pre-download from your Steam library now. Epic Game Store. Yep. Available now through their respective shops. Okay, so it should be available across the board for pre-download, or at least to be able to buy it. Stormweaver, Sorceress, Chronomancer. Okay, so my low IQ explanation of what these classes are. This one, she zaps things, and she messes around with nature. Chronomancer. Think of it like Echo, where you can mess around with time, but well, at least with Chronomancer you can stop time, and I guess things freeze and you can slap the mobs around. Warrior, I assume. Well, why does that look like a crossbow? But then the guy is holding like a huge ass hammer, so yeah, I think that's a hammer dude. He probably smashes things with blunt objects. Warbringer. Well, that dude has a blunt object too. I mean, that looks like a meat stick. or whatever you call this. A mallet, not a mallet. I don't know if that's the Marauder class equivalent. I think so. Anyways, the Ranger, obviously, with the traditional bow that I in Pathfinder. Oh, okay. The Ranger is just the Ranger. What the? I thought they changed their name to Warden, or the class to Warden, but I guess they brought the Ranger back. Interesting. I mean, this guy is like the equivalent of the Marauder. One uses a hammer and one uses a club. Okay, the witch, the blood mage. This one is interesting. I mean, I don't know if you can call her a vampire. I mean, yeah. I mean, blood mage. Infernalist. Blood mage. That reminds me of Vladimir from League of Legends. Okay, got the Infernalist. With heavy focus on fire. Okay, so I'm confused. The Ranger and the Pathfinder. So you have two classes that uses some form of a bow. I think the Mercenary is supposed to kind of take the same spot as the Duelist. Right? But you're either gonna play mostly crossbow or mostly grenades, I guess. And then the monk. I think this is... He's supposed to take kind of the area where the shadow was. So he's like dexterity and intelligence. This one is just strength, right? Strength and dexterity. Or is it just pure strength? No, yeah, it's strength and dexterity. Kind of like a hybrid. Obviously, she's intelligence. Dexterity. Just strength. I think the sorceress takes the place of the Templar. So, strength and intelligence, I assume. The witch is the witch, so that's just pure intelligence. And then the monk, as I said, was dexterity and intelligence. So he has like a bit of magic power and speed, I guess. I don't think I don't know if I'm gonna go through every single node. But I guess if I had to choose, I mean, I kind of wanted to try something different. I think naturally I'd probably play the mercenary. I don't know which one. I mean, that dude looks cool. I don't know what he does, but his background kind of matches with how I generally, or like a champ I would pick or something. But this is just ascendancy though, so yeah. I mean, it'd be interesting to play the monk too. I don't know, but if I truly wanted to play something I never really sat down and tried to, it would probably be like the witch or sorceress. Like I've never really... I feel like I'm mostly play as either duelist, shadow, or marauder. But I wouldn't mind trying some of the other classes. I wouldn't mind trying the ranger again to see how she plays out. I guess there's no Scion equivalent, right? There's no jack of all trades. Unless, I mean, just, we're still like more than 6 months out from release, and they're still adding more classes, so I guess we'll see what you need to know. Did I watch
Existence is a thing of beauty.
Yeah, I watched that. Twitch tribes, leave your feedback. Holy shit, Exacon was back in 2019. Since the announcement of PoE 2 at Exacon 2019 to launch, that was 5 years ago. PoE 2 has undergone countless changes. I feel like I'm gonna go I feel like I'm gonna procrastinate so hard that I won't won't draft up a skill tree, and then I would just go with what looks cool. Oh man, it's gonna be a shit show. The question is, am I gonna start with HC? I don't think so. I'd probably do what Kripparrian does, and he starts with softcore first, tries to learn as much as he can about the game, and then once he feels pretty knowledgeable, at least, or knows what he's doing, then he switches over to hardcore and sort of tests test his build, right? But I'm not even that close. Like I can play for 2K hours and still not know what the hell I'm doing. That's how difficult the game is, or complex. Yeah, I'm just gonna go in there blind, do what I do best, and go in, make a build that hits a damage wall, and then make another character that I will actually follow a build guide for. No, but for real, I kind of want to just like go in there and not copy paste a build, so that I'll just figure it out myself. But then if I really wanted to hone in, then I can get some guidance from a build guide or something. But I think the best experience, especially for like newer players or those that barely play PoE, is to just go in and get destroyed and figure it out as you go. And then once you're like, okay, I really need the guide, then just follow a guide.
Existence is a thing.
And then once you follow a guide once, then make another character, that you came up with, I guess. So that's three characters already.
You have one dedicated life.
I think, isn't that how Diablo does it with the flask? You just have one, but then you have multiple.
You have one dedicated life flask slot and one mana flask slot.
Like you have a slot, and then you have like 9 flasks.
Heal 6 or 7 times if they're full. But that's not the only thing you can use charges for.
But I like the way PoE does flasks, is that instead of having to keep picking them up or going back to base, you just refill it by killing. Well, I mean, Diablo doesn't. It's not too bad with Diablo. Like the flask pops up pretty frequently for you to stay alive.
Charms are a new item type that will automatically defend you from various debuffs or damage types. Having trouble with getting frozen? Equip a Thawing Charm. When it's fully charged, it will make you immune to freeze for 3 seconds if you get frozen. To recharge them, just kill more monsters.
That's the way I like playing. Just refill your flask just by playing.
The mercenary wields a crossbow that can be loaded with different ammo types, offering versatility, power, and mobility. All classes in Path of Exile 2 can be controlled with WASD, which makes this class play exactly like a shooter. For the crossbow, you will find skills that work like shotguns, sniper rifles.
And the fact that they implemented WSD was big surprise. Number one, they brought the game to consoles, right? Nobody expected that because the game started off on a computer and uses their own in-house engine. So how they managed to figure out how to either rebuild the game on the PS, the PlayStation or Xbox, or port it over somehow, that's pretty dang impressive. Number two, PoE 2 has crossplay. That's something you would never have expected. But I guess they just decided to do it, which was a huge surprise, right? Not a whole lot of games where they have in-house engines spend the time and resources to do that, but they did. So they're really pushing for it to be kind of like available everywhere wherever you want to play it. So that's cool. Plus, huge audience when it comes to Xbox and PlayStation, like especially with games that are somewhat like niche. You'd be surprised the amount of players on those platforms keeping those games alive. So that just gives the PoE 2 like a larger pool of players, keeping it, fairly healthy. So maybe you won't find as much success on the Xbox, but we'll find success on the PlayStation or the PC, or vice versa or whatever. But that's kind of how you spread the revenue, I guess. It's better to just. I mean, I see a lot of like games where it's just like only on one platform, but if you don't find success on that one platform, then you're out of luck. So it's always smart to try and bring it to multiple platforms, but that's assuming if you have the funding for it, because you need a team of devs to figure out how to bring it to the console.
There are a wide variety of more interesting elemental ammos too. It's very fast to switch between ammo types, as long as you already have them loaded, which makes the mercenary able to combo abilities together for devastating effect. Use glacial bolt to create walls of ice to separate.
Yeah, I mean the point of the WSD is the so that you can. It's more comfortable to play, especially when you're playing with the remote control. And even if you're on PC, you have your Steam controller or you have your Xbox or PlayStation controller, and it should work.
There are 22 active skills for crossbows. By endgame, you'll be calling destruction down from the sky as you litter the battlefield with grenades and pepper your enemies with your automatic shotgun.
How'd they figure out how to do the key binding? I don't know, but they made it work.
She can call forth hordes of undead monsters to fight for her while casting powerful chaos spells that debilitate her enemies. Occult skills are some of the most varied in the game, with skeletons, noxious spells, specialty minions, curses, and sacrificial magic. Before we talk about minions, we'll have to talk about a new resource.
There was some stutter there.
Called Spirit. This is a spirit gem, which allows you to pick from a range of persistent skills. All classes have a variety of these skills, which can add some very interesting effects, like
go back. Back.
Then the witch should be your choice. Not the witch though. Special about minions. Want to prepare your position to take them down, like shot. Some combo ability falling from the sky.
God damn it! I'm not good at this. Right there. No. Classes.
If you're looking to take a back seat and let your minions do the work, then the witch should be your choice. You already have them 3 seconds. 2, you have 1 dedicated life flask slot. Some suppress which can add some very
Oh, there it is. All right. Monk, Shadow, Huntress, Ranger, Mercenary, Duelist, Warrior, Marauder, Druid, Templar, Sorceress, Witch. That's essentially gonna be all the characters in the game, right there. Right, they'll only show like half of them, but obviously you saw Witch and Ranger, right? And then all the new classes like Sorceress, Druid. I don't think they put so much. They didn't put a whole lot of videos out regarding the Druid, but obviously you got Warrior, you got Mercenary, Huntress. What's the difference between Huntress? Huntress is like a longer range version of the Mercenary. I don't know. No, obviously they're gonna be different. And then you got your Monk, but they did not put out a video regarding Shadow Ranger. Not Shadow, Duelist, Marauder, and Templar. I think they're waiting for a release date, or they might appear, a couple months into early access. I don't know, but that's basically all the class, essentially. So there you go. All the old class plus a new class.
Interesting effects, like Arctic Armor, which does cold damage to enemies that hit you, or Raging Spirits, which summon fiery skulls each time you cast a fire spell. For the Witch, though, we'll want to be using our spirit to create permanent minions. These minions will be revived automatically when they die, so you don't have to worry about resummoning them all the time.
Wait, does PoE even have a name of an engine? I don't think so. Just called in-house engine. Path or fake cell to engine. So everything they did, they kind of built it in themselves.
Tanking damage and distracting enemies. But I want more heavy hitters in my army, so I'm going to unsummon some warriors and instead add skeletal arsonists. Permanent minions come with special active abilities called command skills. You can order these guys to detonate your own minions.
PoE 2 is not going to be a new engine. They stated that specifically the engine will continue to evolve, but now particular content release. What core engines PoT uses? GG created their own game engine. I think GG mentioned both PoE and PoE 2 uses the same engine. Think about it this way. It's like whatever engine PoE 1 is, this is like the 2.0 version. I guess. You know how Unreal has 3, 4, 5, and then 5.3 or something like that. This is like the next iteration of whatever it was PoE 1.
Fireballs, icy explosions, lightning storms, you get the idea. Each spell is unique and has many different ways to build and combo with others, even between different elements. For example, Flame Wall conjures a burning line that not only damages enemies, but also empowers all projectiles that pass through it. If you place a wall and fire lightning sparks through it...
I'm kind of skeptical about PoE 1 though, once PoE 2 releases. I feel like PoE 1 at some point they're gonna just... Maybe not within a year or two, but maybe like 5 years down the line. I feel like they're gonna eventually shut down the servers and focus on PoE 2.
For example, you could grab the Cast and Ignite gem and use it with Firestorm. As you ignite enemies, a counter will go up in the top left corner.
Or maybe they'll just keep it alive, just so that some of the OG players will be able to go back to PoE 1 whenever they feel like it. Apparently Chris is still gonna work on PoE 1.
Characters that will be available at the start of early access, but we will be adding 6 more character classes with just as many skills and options as these. There's a lot more to come. There's one more important thing to mention about skills. Even though we talk about
You know what's weird though? In the last few months, and even when the most recent 2 or 3 live streams, I have not seen Chris. But then again, the PoE 2 project is head by Mark and Jonathan, right? But I'm kind of surprised that, you know, Chris hasn't made an appearance.
So let's talk about support gems. Path of Exile 2 has a system of support gems that can be combined with your active skills to dramatically change the way they work. If you find a support gem, then right-clicking it will open up this screen. Here you will find a variety of recommended support gems for each of your skills that you can pick between. For example, this is a multiple projectiles support gem and can be used to add multiple projectiles to any skill. Normally when you fire a grenade, it'll look like this. But if we add multiple projectiles, then you get 3 of them. Once you have the gem, you can also freely move it between any of the skills on your character. If you want to have a multi-shot sniper rifle instead, then simply move the gem over to your high velocity round skill. Generally speaking, if it sounds like a support gem should work with a skill, then it will work. So it's a good idea to experiment. Note that you can only have one of each support gem on your character, so you'll want to think carefully about which supports can be used best with each skill for maximum damage. Now, if you want to stick to the recommendations, you should have a perfectly good time.
Question. Okay, so I've heard that there is some form of skill comboing in this game, but I'm curious if they meant like if it is like some sort of stacking to procking or some sort of procking style where like, you know, you do a couple of stacks, you hit and it stacks and then you expand with another ability, say like that? Or is it that you are chaining from one ability to the other and then they kind of interact? I don't know. I had to look at the live stream again to see what they say about that. I think they do address that somewhere. I think there's a separate live stream where they talk about the melee
gem should work with a skill,
system.
then it will work. So it's a good idea to experiment. Note that you can only have one of each support gem on your character, so you'll want to think carefully about which supports can be used best with each skill for maximum damage. Now, if you want to stick to the recommendations, you should have a perfectly good time. But if you want to experiment a bit more, then uncheck that recommended button and you can see the full list of supports that will work with your skill. There are hundreds of support gems to choose from, and even we don't know the results of all the possible ways these can interact. Each skill can have up to 5 supports socketed into it, and if you're clever, you can come up with some pretty interesting ideas. Now all of this is just scratching the surface. You can make frost vortexes, break people's armor, make minions explode, make skills repeat, make enemies set each other on fire, cull enemies, or pin them to the ground. Supports let you drastically change the behavior of your skills and create your own unique build, or at least follow someone's OP build guide. So, speaking of builds, let's talk about one of the most iconic Path of Exile systems, the passive skill tree. Yes, it's huge. There are over 1,500 nodes on there. Now, a lot of people open the tree and can get a little intimidated at first, but try not to be scared. There are lots of options, but at its core, it's pretty simple. Each level you get 1 point to put into the tree. Each class starts at a different location, but they all share the same tree. Around your section of the tree, you'll find relevant bonuses for your character. You should be safe in the knowledge that there aren't many wrong choices here. Almost all the starting nodes will be useful for your character in some way. But if you do happen to make a choice you regret, you'll be able to respec any nodes you've taken by spending a little bit of gold.
Yes, respecking. Beautiful. Plus, it doesn't require you to use the Orb of Regret, which is pretty expensive early on. Just use gold. Now, I don't know if the gold, as you go along the tree, I assume that the expense is more in terms of the gold expense, but at least you have something there for respecking without having to go through the trade system.
Now, the tree is generally divided up into clusters which have similar themes. In each cluster you will find small nodes that give simple bonuses like increased damage, but the real power comes from notables. Notables normally have much more interesting bonuses, and they tend to care a lot more about how your build works and what skills you're using. For example, in the mercenary area of the tree, this one gives a 25% chance for crossbow skills to not consume a bolt. And here's one that gives grenades a chance to blow up a second time. This one gives a chance for projectiles to rebound off terrain, as well as giving you some pierce chance to make that more likely. Note that even though this is in the mercenary section, this would work with projectiles from all classes, so there are often reasons to go to different areas of the tree. In order to get between these clusters, you will generally have to allocate nodes in the attribute highways. Attribute nodes allow you to pick which
In the event that I cannot run the game, the earliest I can build my or upgrade my system. Well, technically I can upgrade any time, but I was kind of waiting for the 5 series NVIDIA cards, RTX 50 series, to be announced. Ideally the 5070. It's our choice. It's like, do you upgrade now and go with the current gen stuff, which is perfectly fine? Or do you wait until the 50 series comes out next year? Because there's also, aside from NVIDIA's new graphics cards lineup, there's also the new AMD CPU lineups too. So yeah, that's kind of the dilemma I'm at. Another thing to consider is the speculation that prices will increase next year. Very likely will, because of tariffs and inflation and stuff. So a lot of people are starting to upgrade this year, you know, ahead of the price increase next year. So I might be kind of late to the punch. I mean, I'm crossing my fingers that I can run it tomorrow, but if I can't, then I might be late by like a week or two, because I had to whip up a build or something. I mean, the good thing is it's only just early access, right? Release is probably like late next year or something, or you know, I would say at least a year out from today or tomorrow. They really wanted to take time to polish.
We haven't even talked about the most important element of character progression: items. That's why we're all here, right? Items in Path of Exile can be broken down into 4 rarity groups: normal, magic, rare, and unique. One of the things you're going to want to do as you play through the campaign is upgrade the items you find, and you can do that with currency items.
Oh, where was I during this live stream? I feel like I missed all of this.
You can then apply an Orb of Augmentation to add a second mod, then use a Regal Orb to add a third mod, and upgrade it to a rare. Finally, you can use some Exalted Orbs to add more mods to your rare to a total.
I should have been watching this while I was downloading the game. So, I mean, I caught the live stream, but I only remember like up to here, up to the classes portion. And then I saw some portion of the Ascension stuff. Game structure.
You can also get them by disenchanting unwanted gear at the magic item vendor. If you disenchant magic items,
End
you can build up to
game.
an Orb of Transmutation, and by disenchanting rares, you can build up to Regal Orbs.
Pinnacle bosses.
Of crafting items in PoE2 is sockets.
Pinnacle
Some items
bosses.
you find will have sockets that can have Ezomite runes placed in them that add more mods to the item. If I insert this glacial rune into my helmet, it will give extra cold resistance. This is a great way to solve problems that you have with your build, like resistances or damage. If you find socketed items that you don't have a use for, you can take them to the salvage bench in town to work towards an Artificer's Orb. This will allow you to add sockets to your existing...
Oh, I mean, so the game technically already has a salvaging thing, so Not the best though. So PoE 1, you just sell it to any of the vendors, and then they give you some material back, or just like scraps. I wish they did better with that, where it gave you more material, so that you can craft an item from materials. But at least they're now sort of implementing a salvaging system.
Items in Path of Exile can be broken down into 4 rarity groups: normal, magic, rare, and unique. One of the things you're going to want to do as you play through the campaign is upgrade the items you find, and you can do that with currency items. An Orb of Transmutation will allow you to upgrade a normal item to a magic item with 1 mod. You can then apply an Orb of Augmentation to add a 2nd mod, then use a Regal Orb to add a 3rd mod, and upgrade it to a rare. Finally, you can use some Exalted Orbs to add more mods to your rare to a...
I did my errands early, so I have to do it tomorrow. Like, I did my laundry 2 days early. I usually do it on Fridays, but I didn't want to like. Okay, so usually what happens is that during my lunch break I would like shower, right? Weird timing, but that's just me, I guess. And then right after I would toss my clothes into the laundry, and then theoretically by the time I end my shift by like 5 p.m. Central, all my clothes would have been dried, and all I had to do is just fold them and put them away. But the thing is, the game starts at 1 o'clock. Alright. Usually it starts at 3. But 1 o'clock is like, okay, they're gonna be like 4 hours ahead of me. Number one, I wish I took the day off. But anyways, as we all know, I mean, with any game launch, it's not gonna be perfect, right? It's gonna be a queue time. If somehow GG manages to pull off this early access where there's no queue timer or no queue whatsoever, I'd be really impressed. But yeah, you don't want to be like, okay, you take the day off, 1 o'clock hits, alright, you won't be able to actually get in queue like until like 6 hours later or something. I think it was like Diablo 4 where that happened. It's like people weren't able to get in until like, I don't know, like 5 or 6 hours later or something. Was it Diablo? It was one of the games. But yeah, that was kind of funny. I think it was the recent expansion. I don't remember.
A total of 6 mods. One of the things we think is really important is to make these options available to use as you play. All the items that add mods are much more common than they were in Path of Exile 1, so that you can use them throughout your campaign playthrough. We want you to find things on the ground that can be crafted into upgrades much more frequently. As well as making the drop rates on these items much more common, you can also get them by disenchanting unwanted gear at the magic item vendor. If you disenchant magic items, you can build up to an Orb of Transmutation, and by disenchanting rares, you can build up to Regal Orbs. Another important area of crafting items in PoE 2 is sockets. Some items you find will have sockets that can have Ezomite runes placed in them that add more mods to the item. If I insert this glacial rune into my helmet, it will give extra cold resistance. This is a great way to solve problems that you have with your build, like resistances or damage. If you find socketed items that you don't have a use for, you can take them to the salvage bench in town to work towards an Artificer's Orb. This will allow you to add sockets to your existing items. Body armors and two-hand weapons can have up to 2 sockets, while the rest of your armor and one-hand weapons can only have 1 socket. You can also salvage items with quality to create items like armor scraps or whetstones. These will allow you to increase the quality of your items for an up to 20% boost. If you
I think they saw what made well, one of the nice things about Diablo 4 was the ability to salvage stuff, right? And then the socketing system was fairly user friendly, right? If you want like a helmet with more fire risk, you just put the, I don't even know what you call it. It was a gem or jewel or whatever, circle red thing or something. put it in there, you gain more fire rest. It was just that simple. And then if you wanted to get it back, just salvaging station or whatever. What's the additional cost? I don't remember. But you get material back plus the thing you socked it with, the gem, I guess.
Don't want to disenchant or salvage your items, you can always sell them for gold. Gold can be used to buy items from vendors, and we've tried to do a lot to make sure that the items they have for sale are actually useful. Every time you level up, they get more stock, so make sure to check back often. Other vendors offer a gamble. Pay a flat amount of gold and you'll get a random item of a specific type. This could be a great way to improve your gear, if you're lucky. Gold is also used to respec your passive skills. Take advantage of this system to experiment with your tree and rework it as required. The other thing you might want to use gold for is the currency exchange. This allows you to exchange currency.
I was back. Okay. From Incursion, right? It was Incursion. You climb up the temple and you fight the I want to say Axolotl, but no, that's not his name. Something like that. Axolotl. The flying saucer pyramid looking guy. Thing. Flying object.
Items with other players on an open market. In
Classic
exchange for
Lotto.
a small gold fee. Now all items in Path of Exile are freely tradable. We never bind anything to your character, except gold.
I love lootsies.
Now most gear in Path of Exile 2 is randomly generated, but there's another type that isn't. Uniques. They are especially rare, each with a handcrafted set of unusual mods which can dramatically change a character's build. They're not just better rare items, they can do much stranger things that can fundamentally change your character. Corpse Wade will make any corpses you run through explode into clouds of poison.
Hey.
The sands of...
See, that's what I was thinking. I was thinking of doing a poison build. The question is, am I going to do melee? Like, I can go through that whole painful experience that every game has when it comes to strike range melee, where it's like fucking a pain in the ass to level, but later down the line it becomes better. I'm curious to see how PoE 2 does it. I know with like, did I try melee in last epoch? I don't remember. I think I did. It wasn't too bad actually, because there was a lot of mobility, and a lot of fair amount of AOE that they give you in last epoch. I feel like last epoch is one of those dark horse games where it's like not a whole lot of people have heard of it, but beneath the surface, it's a pretty good game. It's still probably well received as well. I have it right here. I need to go back to it. I've only played it for 45 hours. I think it's one of those games where they like, I feel like they listen to the community and they just put in a lot of good comments and stuff in there. But yeah, I'll probably try and come back to it. It's not like I did take a long break from it, not because of the quality of the game, it's because I've been playing other games, right? I didn't get tired of it. I think it's more so the ADD kicking in, you know? It's like, alright, I'm playing this game, and then for some reason I start another game, and then now I'm playing that game, and then I start the next game, rather than commit. Not the game itself, but it's more like me being kind of confused. 89% overall. Oh no, 89% recent, 77% overall. What does the overall say? 58.1 on record. Oh man, these are like only less than 100 hours in. This guy's got like 694 hours. Wish Alright, posted November 1st. This guy's played almost 700 hours. About 600 at review time. Really wish I could recommend this game. I really do. You can see how much thought and care went to it all by people that actually play ARPGs and wanted to build something to last. However, it asks way too much of you for the end game. Endless farming for drops. Then you have to get lucky with combining the drops to get the stats you need. It's maddening, it's monotonous, and gets downright boring when all there is to do is endlessly farm monoliths. Maybe things will change as they continue to apply polish. I'll check back in a year or so, but I don't have much hope for it. The game is already down under 2k players on average and dying a slow death. We'll say though. 10 times better than Hollow 4. Okay, it just whipped that out of nowhere. Alright, this guy has 60 hours on record. While the game is really fun as it is, it feels disingenuous to release a game in 1.0 with an incomplete story. While yes, most people don't play RPGs for the story, the fact of the matter is 1.0 is meant to say this. The game, as we imagined it, aside from the future plans for DLC and such, to release a game like this just feels like trying to hype up the game more instead of actually releasing their product. This is aside the absolutely terrible endgame grinding for actual hours, the most repetitive way, run around a randomly generated area with randomly generated enemies until the game tells you where the randomly generated enemy is that you need to kill, so you can wait 2 or 3 load screens just to do it again with only a minuscule chance of getting anything even remotely good. Also, the frame rate at the end game makes the game almost unplayable. I have a 3070 and even on the low settings I will drop to single digit frames at times. There's no excuse for this. Alright, this guy has Korean letters, 27 hours essentially. Story and questing is so boring. Me and my friends didn't even make it to endgame. Combat feels bad compared to PoE Diablo. System and the RPG are annoying, just way better RPGs. I was surprised to say combat. I felt like Last Epoch had one of the better combats. I mean, Diablo 4 is not bad at all in terms of its combat. But yeah, exactly. It felt like the midpoint between D4 and PoE 1, that is. You know what they should do? They should have a separate review section, right? Like you click here, right? And then it says early access reviews. And then see what people, just keep a record of what people had to say during the early access period. Obviously it's not going to show up right here. You had to click on it to find it, right? But if you're so curious to see how the game was prior to launch, imagine that. That way you can kind of see where the game has grown. That's how I feel. Obviously you don't want to, show what the reviews are only during like the demo or the alpha phase. But I kind of want to see like an archive of those reviews. 93%, 89%. You know what's crazy though? I think no matter how bad one league can get, it kind of evens out with the next league with GGG. I think it's because they kind of like experiment around a lot. But overall, they sit at around the solid like high 80s, lower 90s as usual. I'm pretty sure there's gonna be people still playing PoE 1. I'd say at most like, I don't know, 3,000 players a day. Let's see. I'm just near the end of the league, right? PoE leagues. Let's see. Acropolis, Settlers of Calgary. So this came out in July, right? January, February, March, April, May, June, July. So 4 month cycle, that's November 26th. Pretty much is the end of the. It's already like the end of the cycle, but I guess they're trying to stretch it out just a little bit more. They didn't really announce the actual date, but it's already been 4 months, a little over 4 months in a week or two. So, alright, near the end of a cycle, or end of a league, Path of Exile. Alpha? What? Oh, it's right there in front of me. There we go. 9,000? I mean, okay. I would have expected 3,000 at most. But I assume that it's like people waiting for PoE 2. So they just decided to play PoE 1. Let's see. At its lowest, it was 3K on Thursday. That was just today. Probably when people were just waking up. It's like over 3 months. I feel like a healthy number is like if your game is averaging at least more than, I'd say like 11 to 12K, and that's pretty low compared to popular games like CS, right? Because they average at least. This is like, that's a lot. That's a lot. I think with Fortnite, they average at least 1 million a day, concurrent players, or so. So that's for like the popular games like this. That's a lot. That's a pretty healthy player base count. I'm even surprised they even got 155K for PUBG. How? 700,000? What? Concurrent players? Oh, those are peak. Okay, those are peak. I mean, what is their average player base count throughout 1 week? Why is it peaking like that? What the fuck? I'm so confused. Okay. I mean, honestly, I feel like this is the more realistic number. Daily users like under 20K. I don't know. Maybe there's some tournament happening or something. Or drops or something. I don't know. But I guess the best game that is not really comparable, but yeah. I mean, that's a huge drop from the past, but that's not all that bad. Bad would be like if they're sitting at like, I don't know, 5,000 or something. And then 2,000 would be like critically low. At that point, you're like, you know, the game is doomed. Let me see, battle bit. Like this. 1,200K. That's kind of scary. Well, then again, they average. Okay. Wasn't this like release time or something? 13K. They've been steadily dropping. Oh boy. 49, 19, 2017. There was a nice rise between 2019 all the way up to 23. And then peaked at 86k. And then blop, just huge drop from May to August. May, June, July, August. So in the span of 4 months. I think that's like when they had like a huge content drought. Maybe they had a patch here, brought a lot of players back, but not as much as when they released. And then boom, huge drop again. Dropped to 6k. Now it's only sitting at 12k. Holy shit. The battle bits on this like it's like on a lifeline at this point. I don't know what happened. The game had a huge potential too, but then again, I mean, is Battlefield even a flavor anymore? I don't think so. Battlefield style games. I think they kind of fell out of favor, you know? Let's see. I think this game has always been pretty niche. There's not a lot of people have really heard of SWAT, the game. But yeah, I think in my opinion, I think it came out way too early. There's no denying that it has a lot of bugs that they need to take care of and a lot of bit of jank here and there. But it needed more time. Yeah, that's a huge drop off. Was that the release date? I thought it was December. I think that was around the time when Trout was playing, like early access. Ready or not release date. December 17th. Yeah, I think that was like early access prior to launch. Been steadily decreasing. I'm not exactly sure what to say about this game. I think they already come out with a DLC, but we haven't gotten dedicated servers yet. We haven't gotten multiplayer yet. PvP, that is. Or PvPvE or something like that. It's just PvE at the moment. We haven't gotten the anti-cheat system yet. And a more robust ban system. I think recently they finally started implementing a better ban system, but I think that with PvP, which is the plan, they have to talk about anti-cheat. Otherwise, PvP is gonna be meaningless because it'll be overrun by scripters. So they've been pretty quiet about that. I mean, it's a huge undertaking. I hope that they're still working on it, but the charts are looking troubling for now. I think the only remaining players are the ones that are just pretty dedicated to the game itself, which is, yeah, but as I said, a healthy number would be 10, 11k or more. So this is looking troubling for them. very troubling. I think BattleBit's the one that is in serious, like, I don't know what's gonna happen, but I think the game is on the kind of on its last legs, really. They've had to make huge, substantial changes or whip out like a huge update to bring this game back alive. But I don't know what's gonna happen. But this is definitely, yeah. That game is kind of nearly done. Battlefield 1 has more players. What the fuck? Alright. How about 3? 92. I mean, this is like, what? When did it came out? 2011 or something like that? And it only recently just got on Steam, so that's kind of why it's only at 92.
Silk is a body armor that changes your dodge roll into a blink, morphing you into sand as you teleport past your foes. And of course, some uniques are just pure hits of dopamine, like Quill Rain, which just turns your bow attacks into full auto by doubling your attack speed. Each unique is something that you can build your character around. We try to make sure that most unique items have a potential use at endgame, even if you find them early on. And as you can see, every single unique item comes with custom art to match. The last character progression system that you can do during the campaign is Ascension. Starting in Act 2, you will come across Ascension trials, tests that you must complete to unlock your Ascension class. We'll explain these trials soon, but first let's take a look at what Ascending can do for your character. Each class has access to 3 Ascendancy classes, but at the start of Early Access, only 2 per class will be available.
Hold up, pause. Police were able to find the image of the suspect without his face mask because he was flirting with the woman who checked them into the hostel. Police sources told HBC News as he stood at the check-in desk. The sources said the woman asked to see a smile. The suspect issued a blotch, pulling down his mask long enough for the surveillance camera to capture his face. Okay. Alright. Well, first of all, what does he expect to happen when you check in? They gotta identify you, so. What? Okay.
Ascendancy classes are unique to each character class, so choose wisely.
Ooh. Alright, let me try to remember the names. Alright. Ranger. Monk. Witch. Sorceress. Mercenary. Warrior. I think.
They can drastically affect how you build your character.
Vegas.
As a sorceress, you could become a storm weaver, a master of the elements. Tempest Caller causes elemental storms to be summoned each time you do a critical hit with a spell.
She's like the
Strike
Templar.
twice, you can stack 2 copies of Shock for more damage. And going deeper into the tree, you can make all your damage types apply Shock. Make a Shock build from any skill. Alternatively, you could become a Chronomancer and command time itself. She literally has the ability to stop time with Time Freeze. Not only that, but she has many other time manipulation abilities. Using Temporal Rift, she can teleport back to a previous location, resetting her life and mana back to what it was. Or with Time Snap, she can reset all her cooldowns and cast all her spells again. On the Warrior, you can choose between the Warbringer or the Titan. The Warbringer channels the might of his ancestors to gain tremendous power. Using Answered Call, you can summon ancestral spirits linked to each of your turns.
Okay.
With Jade Heritage, you can encase your body in a
like a
protective
summoner
blade that
kinda.
absorbs all damage until it breaks. Warcaller's Bellow allows you to explode the corpses of your enemies, and with Great Wolf's Howl you can ignore the cooldowns of your war cries.
So when I played Champions of Norath, I think that the lion character like did like war cry and stuff, kind of like a little more than a berserker, I guess, more like a tanky version of a berserker. But I think this is the closest to it.
Let all that anger out. The Titan class is all about hitting big. With Earthbreaker, every slam is a chance to create an aftershock. With Crushing Impacts, every hit becomes a crushing blow, which will allow you to stun your enemies with ease. With Surprising Strength, you can take advantage of stunned enemies to deal 40% more damage. As a ranger, you might choose to be a Deadeye, an expert markswoman who can take down foes with style. With Endless Munitions,
I like the
every attack
movement
ends an extra
in here.
projectile.
It's like it's way more mobile, way
Gathering
faster.
Winds, she gains a small increase to movement speed with every attack. But be careful, she
Able
loses
to
them with
leap.
getting hit. With Eagle Eyes, she will never miss, allowing you to stop wasting all those passive points on accuracy. Alternatively, you could become a Pathfinder, the master of flasks and poison. She can choose from one of several throwable concoctions, allowing her to spend her flask charges to throw explosive bottles that deal various types of damage. A bleeding concoction will make your enemies bleed, while a fulminating one can shock your enemies.
Won't be
allowing
able
you
to see
do extra
the
damage.
shadow yet.
Contagious Contamination
So an
allows her to
assassin
spread
style
poison
class,
between her foes,
you know, with
while
dagger of
overwhelming
law.
toxicity doubles the number of stacks they can be infected by. Running Assault allows her to move much more quickly while firing, while Relentless Pursuit makes her totally immune to being slowed by enemies. The Witch can ascend into the Infernalist or the Blood Mage. As an Infernalist, she can summon a loyal Hellhound companion. The Hellhound sets enemies on fire, as well as taking a percentage of the damage if the Infernalist gets hit. With Pyromantic Pact, you can turn your mana into Infernal Flame. As you cast more spells, the flame builds up, and if it overflows, you'll take damage.
Ooh.
Using Bringer of
Jesus.
Flame, you'll want to make sure you keep the flames topped up. While your Infernal
Yeah, I
Flame
missed
is
this portion of the
30%,
stream.
all damage from you and your minions will
I didn't know
ignite
that.
enemies. She can also transform into a literal demon. While in demon form, she takes an increasing amount of damage, but her cast speed and damage increase rapidly as well. So if you're planning on transforming into a demon, make sure you stack a lot of life recovery.
So
She
I
can
was
also
right. There
become
was a
Blood
demon
Mage, a master of life and energy.
transformation.
All blood mages must pay the price of making skills cost life as well as mana, but in exchange, every monster they kill will drop life remnants, which allow them to quickly gain back that life. With Crimson Power, she can gain large amounts of extra life,
This
and with
build actually
Vitality
looks pretty
Siphon, she
cool.
can use her spells to leech life back as well. Once you've got a significant amount of life, you can use Gore Spike to make your critical hits deal incredible amounts of damage. A monk who is in tune with the elements might become an Invoker. With Elemental Expression, the Invoker will create waves of elemental power each time he does a critical strike. With Faith as a choice, you gain the ability to meditate, allowing you to double your energy shield. Choose between I am the Blizzard or I am the Thunder to specialize in cold or lightning. And I Shall Rage will allow you to turn into an unbound avatar. Each time you apply a status ailment to an enemy, you gain Unbound Fury. When you have enough, transform into an avatar to deal way more damage and inflict even more elemental ailments. Some monks choose to reach into the darkness instead. The Acolyte of Chayula can exchange their mastery of spirit for darkness, a resource that can be utilized to both absorb and deal damage. The Shroud of Darkness will protect you from all damage incoming, but if you take Grasp of the Void, you will deal extra chaos damage from all the darkness you have. Their Dark Pact offers greatly increased resistances to chaos damage and can allow their mana leech to not only happen instantly, but apply to their energy shield as well.
Yo, this combat's so
Another node you
fluid.
can take is Waking Dream, which allows you to see into the domain of the Breach Demons. There you will see the Flames of Chayula that can be taken to gain life, mana, and damage. The Mercenary has a job to do, but which job suits you? You might choose to become a Witch Hunter. Obsessive Rituals will give you a sorcery ward, allowing you to defend yourself against elemental hits in exchange for less defense against attacks. With Zealous Inquisition, your enemies have a 10% chance to explode on death. The chance is doubled against demons and undead. With Judge, Jury, and Executioner, your initial hit against enemies can deal up to 30% of their life and damage, if you're lucky. This is great for hunting powerful bosses.
30%? Jesus.
And with Witchbane, you can break your enemy's concentration, preventing them from casting spells as often as they would usually do. You could also choose to become a Gemling Legionnaire, enhancing your abilities by embedding gems directly in your flesh. Integrated Efficiency will give you extra skill slots. Thermatological Infusion gives you extra maximum resistances as you socket more and more support gems.
Extra skill slots.
Adaptive Capability allows you to use any color
Never
of
seen
gem without
anything like
worrying
that.
about attributes. While Crystalline Potential adds extra quality bonuses to every gem socketed into
I
your
see all these classes look pretty fun.
So those are the
might as well
Ascendancy
just
classes for the start of Early Access. But one thing we haven't talked about yet is how you ascend in the first place.
Try all of them.
Ascension in Path of Exile 2 requires completion of one of the Great Trials, which you'll find as you progress through the campaign. Each one is associated with one of the major cultures of Rayclast. Located in the Vasteri Plains are the Maraketh, a culture of rich tales and brutal traditions, who must do whatever it takes to survive in the desert. The highest position in Maraketh culture is a Sekima, and it is not a title given freely. All aspirants must complete the Trial of the Sekimas, a grueling gauntlet that will test their strength, will, cunning, and patience. To enter, a warrior of the Maraketh must prove their worth by trapping the soul of a djinn in a coin, and you are no different. Once you have earned your coin, it may be placed in the relic altar to begin the trial. In the Trial of the Sekimas, each room has its own challenges to overcome. In this room, each rare monster you kill will send its blood to the chalice in the center of the room. Once the chalice is filled, you will be able to proceed.
Oh, you see that? See the video's playing, you see it kind of slows. I wouldn't call it like, I don't know if you can call it a stutter, but then I think it has the same issue with PoE 1 where it's like, there's this short period of time where, I don't know if it's like a frame drop or something, but it feels like it's like a elongated stutter or something like that. A slow elongated stutter. But I think it's just like a frame drop over time sort of thing. I don't know.
While fighting monsters in the trial, you will need to be very careful. Each hit will not only hurt you, but will damage your honor. The monsters are well telegraphed, so that you can avoid their attacks, but if you run out of honor, you will fail the trial and need to find another coin in order to try again. It is a good idea to make sure that you are well prepared before challenging the Trial of the Sekimas. After each room, you will be rewarded. In this case, you have been given a key that can be used to unlock chests later in the trial. Once you have claimed your reward, you will be shown a map of the rest of the floor and may choose how you wish to proceed. Which challenges would you like to face, and which rewards do you want to claim? Some rooms are more dangerous, afflicting you with debuffs that will persist for the entire trial. For example, entering this room will afflict you with Spiked Shell that will cause all monsters in the rest of the trial to have 50% increased life. You will want to take care if you choose such a path. There are many different challenges and rewards as you journey through the trial. Deadly traps, waves of monsters, and strange artifacts will test your honor. As you progress, you'll be able to gain boons from the djinn, which will help you on your journey. For example, the Sekima's cloak will revive you once if you die, giving you a second shot at a run. One of the rewards you may find is Sacred Water, an extremely valuable and treasured resource to the djinn and the Maraketh. Trading it with the djinn will allow you to receive many benefits. You can recover honor, gain additional boons, or remove afflictions. At the end of the floor, you'll find a powerful boss which will truly test your limitations. In order to ascend, you will need to defeat him.
Oh. Can't even dodge that. That's AoE.
Having defeated the boss, you've earned the right to ascend. But first, the loot. The keys you have found may be used to open the various treasures in the vault at the end of the floor. We only have a single bronze key, so we'll just have to open one of these small chests. If you want to open the better ones, you'll need silver or gold keys. Let's use the Altar of Ascendancy. Your first ascension will allow you to pick your class and grant you 2 points to use in the tree. Now there are more floors and many more rewards that can be found within the Trial of the Sekimas, but we'll save that for the section on the endgame. For now, let's talk about the second Ascendancy trial, the Trial of Chaos. In Path of Exile 2, you can choose whichever trial you like to earn your ascension. Each culture on Rayclast had their own methods to ascend. If the Trial of the Sekimers is not your kind of playstyle, or you're finding it too difficult, you could try another. You can gain all your ascension points from just one, or mix and match them. It's up to you. For early access, we will have 2 trials as options, with a 3rd trial coming later for the full release. While exploring the Vaal jungle, you'll discover the Temple of Chaos. Before the Vaal embraced the science of corruption, their civilization worshipped chaos. This ancient trial was once used by the Vaal to test their high priests. A high priest of the Vaal must show willingness to risk everything
really
to
like
gain
this
power.
game. So cool.
Entry to the trial requires a token from a strange entity known only as the Trial Master.
Something
For
about
those in which he
the
sees potential, he shall inscribe an ultimatum.
ancient native
Many have attempted
styles.
these trials in search of greatness. Most have perished.
I find
Will you be able to defy the odds?
pretty interesting.
Before you begin each chamber, the Trial Master will
I
offer
think
you a
maybe
reward and a choice.
when I was young,
Choose one of 3 tribulations to affect you through the rest of the trial.
I had a fascination for like, I think it was like ancient Egypt and then ancient Native American like history. I just thought it was cool.
These modifiers might beef up the monsters, curse the player, or add environmental hazards like turrets or trap runes. In this case, we'll be picking shocking turrets. As you enter the room, the Trial Master will fill it with hazards to test your commitment. In this case, you must destroy all the monsters that fill the room, while dealing with the lightning projectiles from the shocking turrets. After each room, you will need to make a choice. Take the rewards you have earned so far, or go double or nothing. Increase your rewards, but take on more risk. Each tribulation you add is minor on its own, but they quickly stack on top of each other and can become overwhelming. There are many types of chambers in the trial. Each will test your resolve in different
Time
ways.
is it?
This one simply requires you survive for a certain amount of time. Another requires you to
10:07.
escort the stone idol through the level as elevators full of monsters descend to attack you. Should you be able to get through the
Probably,
first 3 chambers, you will face your first boss. The order of the bosses is random, and combined with the tribulations you have selected, the fight will never feel the same. After defeating the boss, you may claim your rewards. Of course, there are the items, but you also gain the right to ascend.
Probably head out.
If you already did the Trial of the Sekimers, then you can claim 2 more points.
I'll probably watch some of this tomorrow. Just put on my TV while I work. I won't get out until 5, so 4 hours after early access starts. I am not sure if I'll be able to run this game based off the spec requirements. So in the event that I can't, then I don't know. If in the event that I can't, then I'll play some Guild Wars or something. I don't know. Or start something. Guild Wars. Or I've been meaning to play an MMORPG, but yeah. I would have to play something until I can put together an upgrade. The thing is that I didn't mention that I'm on the fence on whether I should upgrade early, ahead of tariffs and inflation and price increases, or wait until the next gen components come out, which is like February, March of next year. But I think the general consensus in the tech community is to get your build in before next year, because with the uncertainty of prices of hardware, who knows, things might be double their price next year. I don't know. especially with the trade wars that is happening already. So yeah, we'll see. We'll see. It's gonna get pretty dicey next year. That's all I know. But I mean, I do want to kind of sink into the game. So either I push for that upgrade this year and take the advice of the tech community, or wait it out and just try and hope that prices don't jump up too high next year, which I doubt, because we're already in the beginning portion of global trade war. So yeah. But I do want to get something up and running so that I can play this game, because I mean, if early access is going to be up for 6 months, it's one of the thingies where you kind of want to get in early, right? If you want to kind of sink into this game. So yeah. Anyways, I'm gonna head off for now. Try and get some sleep in. Hopefully I can run the game tomorrow. If not, we'll try and think of something. Anyways, thank y'all for dropping by. Hope y'all have a good weekend. Take care. Good night.